Okay, guys, this is from Quora. How does a Scientologist get their ethics in? And what I want to remind everyone of, and I'm hoping I start to get some people that are not Scientologists or former Scientologists, because the public needs to be aware of this. What I want everyone to understand is that when we're talking about a Scientologist, we're talking about children as well. So anything applicable to an adult is applicable to a child. And by the way, the child abuse and child labor are written right into the policies. But apparently all these ABC agencies could never get a hold of them. Wink, wink. Julie Cohen Gold. A staff Scientologist might be told to get their ethics in because they are not behaving properly according to their rules. Policies, in other words. The LRH, dumb, moronic, imbecilic policies that so-called LRH wrote. This could be lying or stealing, or having S out of marriage, or being R-ed by a grown adult, just so everyone knows. Being out ethics can get you punished by being given lower conditions. Oh, they love those lower conditions. They love the lower school. They love the lower ranch. You know, the lower ranch where Nathan Rich and several Scientologist children were locked up against their will? Yeah. Lower conditions, or if serious, you can be sent to the Rehabilitation Project Force, RPF, which is their in-house prison camp, applicable to children as well. Just so everyone is clear on that. In the RPF, you have to wear a black jumpsuit. In fact, I think a YouTube influencer caught some people in those black jumpsuits. Do filthy or extremely hard work, run everywhere, and you're not allowed to speak to anyone. Sounds normal for a religion, right? Yeah. You gotta wonder who really did create it, don't you? How does a Scientologist get their ethics in? Ethics is where you realize you have an ethics blind spot and need to become an ethical person. You know, even if you're 5. Getting your ethics in by your own activity. Justice is where your actions to get your ethics in have failed and people around you find it necessary to increase the heat on you so that you are ethical. But what is this ethics thing? It is where you are doing the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics. So, you know, squash down any hopes and dreams you have for yourself. That's what happened to Philip Gale, and unfortunately, he took his own life. And I'm not paying for a free trial, so we're going to go to the next one. Chris Shelton. Oh, wow, Chris Shelton was in 27 years. But he was a child. Chris Shelton also was a child Scientologist. I'm just going to read it. Generally speaking, how much do you bet children never gets mentioned? People join Scientology and other destructive cults. It's a deflection. Because they have some personal problem or issue they want to resolve. And they feel they can't do that on their own. Except for the children, they don't get that choice. Scientology, at its introductory level, offers solutions to common life problems, you know, at a price. Mostly based on pretty common sense reasoning like, talk to your children, don't beat them. Or perhaps, well, apparently a lot of people didn't get that one. Or perhaps the problems with your marriage aren't all your spouse's fault. Perhaps you did some things to cause them too. These are offered as simple, cheap classes, and the person who continues in Scientology is a person who finds some relief or help from the solutions Scientology offers at a price. Many don't, by the way. Let's see where he's going with this. Just because someone walks into a church of Scientology or takes one or two of their classes doesn't mean they're going to stick with it. I supervised those classes for many years, and I could tell you that beyond those first classes, most people don't stick with it for very long. Was he a child when he was course supervisor? But for those who do, they are told that the solutions they were given are just the beginning of a long series of actions that they can do which will lead them along a path to happiness. Can't help but think of Happy Valley, which was nothing happy about it. Fulfillment and prosperity. Prosperity for Scientology, not for the Scientologist, because they take it all. By investing their time and money in the practice of Scientology auditing, akin to counseling, but only barely, they can attain new levels of perception and spiritual ability, which will be reflected in an improved life and better conditions for themselves and their family and friends, etc. People generally want this kind of thing and buy into Hubbard's smooth marketing rhetoric and common sense ideas and commit to being Scientologists. Oh boy. What they don't know at that point, and only come to learn gradually, as their investments of time and money become greater and greater, is that Scientology is a membership activity which puts more and more demands on you. As Hubbard himself said, when somebody enrolls, consider he or she has joined up for the duration of the universe. Never permit an open-minded approach. That's the mind control. If they're going to quit, let them quit fast. If they enrolled, they're aboard. And if they're aboard, they're here on the same terms as the rest of us, win or die in the attempt. Never let them be half-minded, like him, about being Scientologists. The finest organizations in history have been tough, dedicated organizations. Not one namby-pamby bunch of panty-waist dilettantes have ever made anything. It's a tough universe. The social veneer makes it seem mild, but only the tigers survive. Right. Excuse me. And even they have a hard time. We'll survive because we are tough and are dedicated. When we do instruct somebody properly, like a child, he becomes more and more tiger. When we instruct half-mindedly and are afraid to offend, scared to enforce, we don't make students into good Scientologists, and that lets everybody down. When Mrs. Pattycake comes to us to be taught, turn their wandering doubt into a fixed, dedicated glare, and she'll win, and we'll all win. Remember, what did he say about little boys? L. Ron Hubbard said, little boys are the stuff. Turn that wandering doubt into a fixed, dedicated glare, and she'll win, and we'll all win. Humor her, and we all die a little. The proper instruction attitude is, you're here, so you're a Scientologist. Now we're going to make you into an expert auditor, no matter what happens. We'd rather have you dead than incapable. So you can see they take a rather dim view of someone only doing Scientology part-time or treating it as a second priority in their life. Soon you find that they are discouraging friendships or even being in business with people who are not Scientologists. This is the isolation. They want you to join staff at their organizations or make the ultimate commitment to join the C organization, which means selling your house and stuff and working 24/7 for Scientology. There's the free labor. The demands to do this are constant. Those who don't want to do that are pushed hard to donate more and more of their money to the cause, not just to pay for their auditing or classes, but to pay for new buildings for their churches, or forward their fourth dynamic campaigns to bring Scientology to the world. No amount is ever enough. No donation's ever good enough to keep them away for very long. The more you pay, the more you are expected to pay. They literally lock people up in rooms and won't let them leave until they pay some money. I thought that was illegal too, but you know. Kind of reminds you of the Italian mafia. And of course, you are not told up front that once you are committed and fully involved, you cannot just up and leave and go on with your life. If you start thinking critically about any aspect of the organization or Hubbard's materials, you are told that the error is on your part. The organization and Hubbard can do no wrong. So clearly, if something is wrong, it's your fault. More victim blaming, you see. If you fight back or disagree with this, you will be censored and ultimately kicked out and shunned by all Scientologists. Should be so lucky. All for doing nothing wrong, but simply expressing your own opinions or ideas about Scientology. Scientology demands ultimate compliance. Where have we seen that before? Sound like the last 6 years? With its policies and its rules. This creates a kind of emotional blackmail where people remain as members because they're too afraid to leave. I hope that gives a clear idea of why people become and remain Scientologists. I was right, he didn't mention children at all. But, however, it was a very good description. I don't want to read that one. That's How do Scientologists Handle Severe Mental Disorders? Oh, Introspection Rundown. Did you guys know? They keep wanting me to start a free trial. I'm not doing it. Okay, we're going to parlay into a different subject. What are things that you can't do if you're a Scientologist? I want everyone to keep in mind the children as well. And let's see how many crimes are actually committed, laws. What are some things that you can't do if you're a Scientologist? The one major thing you cannot do is leave. False imprisonment. I told them I was going to take 2 weeks off and was interrogated for 2 days to make sure I was coming back. Turns out I was planning on coming back before the interrogation, but decided not to after that. Then I received harassing and threatening letters and phone calls for 6 years. Aren't those crimes as well, you guys? I mean, we're hard on the police. I mean, I know I am. And the feds and all these different agencies. But how exactly can you stop that? I mean, yes, they're breaking laws. I mean, I don't know. You would think there'd be some kind of punishment there. Talking about punishment culture anyways. Good to look up punishment culture. Apparently there's a lot of books on that as well. Then I received harassing and threatening letters. Law number 1 broken, right? Isn't that a law against that? Of course, a lot of these PDs know all about harassing and threatening, don't they? And phone calls for 6 years. I would think that's also a crime. After I started challenging the callers to ask, the calls finally stopped after I started challenging the callers to ask for 2 weeks off themselves. I wanted to cover this. When they did, the church decided I was too dangerous to talk to. That's brilliant. So if anyone else goes through this, make sure you start talking to the callers and saying, hey, you need to ask for 2 weeks off yourself. So I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.